Looks like the USL may well avoid a player strike. Private equity joins MLS Next Pro, and is a 30-year-old Nepo baby really going to steal the Vancouver Whitecaps? That and more on Friday's edition of Morning Kickaround. Hello and welcome to the show. You found your way to Morning Kickaround, the show that dots the map of the ever-changing American soccer landscape. How you doing? Hope you're well. My name is Robert Kerr, local soccer guy, and to my side, wearing the most handsome shirt I've seen in a very long time, Mr. Jason Davis. How you doing?
Yeah, I got the official Morning Kickaround jersey. They arrived. They are ready to be shipped out as soon as I can. I have to longhand this. I don't have a printing situation. So last time I've really written longhand, it's been a while. Rob, my kid was making fun of my 8s today. So, Papa, that doesn't look like an 8. Oh, well, I got to work on my 8s. But I'm getting them out. So if you ordered a Morning Kickaround shirt, and this is the first edition, this will be the only one with a special tag on it that says first edition. I promise you they will go out very soon. Certainly before I head off to Pawtucket, Rhode Island next week. So I'm excited. They're beautiful. This is embroidered, this MKU logo badge that our guy Mark did for us. You can see the B for the Bastion, his company, Morning Kickaround, some people playing there against the backdrop of the morning sun. It says, turn around if I can. What does it say, Rob? What does it say?
Dot the map. That was do you need to get a massage? That was the most stiff, awkward turnaround of all time.
Rob, I'm sitting on a stool I'm attached to the computer by headphone. What do you ask? What are you doing?
Sorry, you're at like a half man, half machine status, but you look good.
Anyway, it's a nice looking shirt. If you want one, go find us on Fourth Wall. I believe it is morning-kickaround-shop.fourthwall.com. If you want to buy a shirt, we can print them on demand when you're ready. We'll get them in, we'll get them out, and you can be part of the Morning Kickaround crew. And I believe we'll have some in Pawtucket. I mean, Rob will have his, I'll have mine. We'll have some people on hand that maybe will have theirs as well. So shout out to all the Ultras. I see that 811 Reyes just became an Ultra. Congratulations. You've made a good choice. You've decided to join up with the Ultras. Let's do this. Go ahead.
Clanger, clanger. Choices on a Friday morning.
Yeah.
I saw a friend on Blue Sky saying that with all the news, all the soccer news, he's considering Friday morning drinks, and no judgment. Do what you will with your time.
If you wanted to have a cold one right now, I would not judge you for having a cold one right now. It's going to be a day. We've got a lot to get into. I know we've got a guest on the show as well, Rob. Again, I want to say good morning to everybody, all the Ultras who are here. There's so many of you. Jeff, Shrimper Steve, Nate, By the Big Lake, Kate, Mr. Bob, Armando, John. I've got, Billy Bob Western. I got Cool Will. I got Soccer Night in Detroit. I've got Bill Barrett is here. Homeless Shoe is here. A. Rowley, Ohio is here. Chris is here. If I missed you, I apologize. We'll get back to you. But Rob, let's move.
Yeah, at the end of the show, as we want to do on Fridays, we will dot the map in the Morning Kickaround Discord server. MK Ultras, the channel members, get to dot the map. We'll do that at the end of the show, but we are going to talk TST, the fourth year, at the top of the hour with a great guest. But we got private equity talk. We got relocation of team talk. We also have possible resolutions to the USL labor negotiations. And before we get to that, we are going to Pawtucket next week. And we are thankful to our partner, Blackstone Valley Tourism Council, who in the lead up to are giving away tickets. So the first set of 4 tickets is being given away on their Instagram today. So I believe you can still enter into that. So head over to Blackstone Valley's Instagram page to enter in a chance to win tickets. And then there's another set next week. And we hope to see as many Ultras and friends out there as we spend a great weekend with the Tourism Council. And it culminates with a college game day style show. We should come up with a theme. Should we call it Soccer Game Day? Morning Kickaround at night, we should definitely come up with
Ooh, I like
game.
I like American soccer. I mean, game day is taken, right? So we kind of can't. I
American
mean,
Soccer
game day
Match
is
Day.
it's a pretty okay, yeah. Match day live. We can do match day live. Is that a thing in England? They got match day live. Somebody's got match day live, probably.
Possibly.
But we'll figure it. Let's let the ultras workshop it for us. Come up with ideas. Let me show you this, by the way. This is the giveaway over on Tour Blackstone on Instagram. So it's Tour Blackstone. Go find their post so you can win your tickets to be in the building, Centerville Bank Stadium, Rhode Island FC versus Tampa Bay Rowdies. You see our logo, our pretty little bird right there. What's his name again, Rob? What's he called? I forget. What's his name?
Franz Peckenpower.
Franz Peckenpower is on that. So there you go. MK on location, MK on tour, soccer night in America. Wow, that's heavy. That's a lot. MK after dark.
That has some different implications, right?
I do like this
Yeah,
one.
actually, that's a
And
good
shout out
note.
to
Part of the
Guitarra
Discord,
Yaga.
one of our Saturday Big Kicks good, but there's also been some suggestions or requests that we do an MK Hangout, which is a Discord feature, which is the audio
Yes.
chat. So I was
Yes.
thinking we'll give it a spin on Monday night because it's going to be a busy weekend and we can preview the week. So maybe Monday night after we do our what have yous. I know Luke Sigorski's willing to partner up if you're unavailable, but I think get that in the mix on the Discord. Do an audio hangout. How about that?
Yeah, that's sure. I've never done that. I mean,
Test drive it.
I've never. I know somebody asked about it. I think I set something up with a voice channel and was like, I don't know what that is. I'm just going to keep going with my life. But if you want to do it, you want to lead us into it, absolutely. Yeah. USL game night. I mean, it is USL the game. We don't want to limit ourselves to only on location USL broadcasts. We want to be a little bit more Big Tent. So American soccer, something soccer in America, something soccer in America, American soccer spotlight. I don't know, something, Rob. We'll come up with something. I'm just spitballing here.
Yeah, spitball. Indeed. We'll come back to that at the end of the show when we dot the map, I think. But let's get into it. Plenty of stories to go. Let's get into Friday's edition of Morning Kick Around. Welcome in Morning Kick Around. It is May 1st, and there's a labor agreement. What a little coinky dink. The USLPA and the league itself came out with a joint statement saying that they've come to an agreement, the tentative agreement, we should clarify, on the key terms of a new collective bargaining agreement. Still pending final ratifications, but this is a big step, you think, into preventing any possible work shortage or stoppage.
Yeah, I imagine that they would not have issued this joint statement, Rob, unless there was a real belief that this was going to get done. The word tentative is doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't include tentative if you are 100% sure. You'd leave that out. You say you have reached an agreement on key terms of a new collective bargaining agreement pending final ratification. Tentative, man, I think, maybe both sides recognize like this thing has been dragging on.
Yeah.
Like people are just at this point, the just absolute, tiredness on the fatigue on the part of American soccer fans who care about these USL clubs has to be a problem for both the USL and the USLPA. And we've talked through the USLPA's actions, right? The way they have shown their solidarity and protested this situation via those on-field exhibitions. So, and we question whether they had gone far enough, but of course, acknowledging that you can't go too far, right? You risk losing any leverage you have. Obviously, the idea of actually striking is a big, big, big thing. So I'm going to be thrilled. Until I see the details, I can't really judge who won, who lost, whether it's a good deal. But for the moment, this is good news.
Yeah, we haven't seen really any public signs of progress with this at all. They just know that they've been negotiating a myriad of times and nothing's come out. I kind of lost the thought that they were going to strike after like the first 2 weeks when a strike didn't happen. So it kind of, yeah, that threat dissipated. But it's great news for everyone involved that there has been progress for the second ever CBA connected to the USL, and this is USL Championship. And one thing I actually didn't notice until looking back up on the screen, they threw in the USL Premier on here. So this, you'd think that there's future considerations for future USL Division One league that doesn't exist yet, but that's in the negotiations apparently.
Well, that's the thing. That's the leverage that the USL players ultimately had. Right now, maybe there's a whole new batch of players in USL Premier when it happens. But the leverage that the Players Association had was, oh, you want to launch a first division? Oh, you want to do something even higher level than what you've got right now, but you're not meeting professional standards in your USL Oh, well, we can call you out on that. We can point at you and say, hey, look at these hypocrites over here claiming they wanted to be big time, but not giving their players proper environments to execute their work, right? That was the leverage that the PA had. And so I give them credit for using that if that is indeed the case. And you're right, to have it say that this is about USL Championship and USL Premier is a nice little detail.
All right, we'll follow this story as it progresses. And then I think once we get an official statement of it signed, sealed, and delivered, perhaps we'll clank the clanger for that. But let's move along. Busy day. More news up next here on Morning Kick Around. Is Major League Soccer really going to let a 30-year-old Nepo baby move the Vancouver Whitecaps to Las Vegas? Well, Grant Gustafson, whose mother is billionaire Tamara Gustafson, is leading an investor group that has made a formal offer to acquire the Vancouver Whitecaps and relocate them to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah, this via Paul Tenorio's story at The Athletic. Maybe Tom Bogert involved in this one as well. Shout out to those guys. Grant Gustafson. It's a mouthful. It's not easy to say. I'm not Swedish.
I said it twice.
You did. You did a good job. You said it twice. Good job. Tamara Gustafson. Okay, so it's the Hughes family because the money flows from B. Wayne Hughes. You know when somebody, especially when they're from like a place like Kentucky, you know when they have a first initial and then a middle name, that they're probably a big dude, like a big time guy. Like B. Wayne Hughes, probably a big time guy.
White suit, maybe a cigar. Yeah, I'm B. Wayne Hughes, eh?
Yeah. This is I didn't know you could make $8.5 billion off of public storage, but apparently you can. It's a real estate play. Let's be honest. It's a real estate play. Tamara, they're also very involved in breeding racehorses, Rob. They have a stud farm in Kentucky that has like a bunch of Kentucky Derby winners and is worth $400 million by itself. And apparently Grant has been involved in running that farm after he graduated from USC, which is where he went to college. He's been involved, per the report from The Athletic, in the name, image, likeness program at USC. Again, 30 years old, doesn't have his own money to do this, right? Let's be clear. He's not putting down Grant's money. He's putting down family money, or he's leveraging the family's ability to borrow money in order to buy potentially the Vancouver Whitecaps and move them to Vegas. As soon as his name dropped via the report from The Athletic, we all went scurrying to the internet, as you do, to learn more about Grant Gustafson. And Rob, you know what I found out about Grant Gustafson?
What did you find out?
Not much, because the guy doesn't have a big digital footprint, at least not an obvious one. I'm sure if you paid somebody who knows what they're doing to dig into his digital footprint, you could find more things. LinkedIn profile deleted. And my guess, I don't have evidence of this, but my guess is deleted as soon as his name went public attached to this bid, because while there may be some people in Vegas excited to see an MLS team maybe come to town through Grant's purchase, there's going to be a lot of American and Canadian soccer fans who are none too happy to have this dude try to steal the Vancouver Whitecaps from British Columbia. You can't find many pictures of him. There is an Instagram profile that is private that may be him. I couldn't tell, and again, I don't want to put whoever that person is on blast if it's not this Grant Gustafson. There's more than one Grant Gustafson, believe it or not, in the world. Again, like, I don't want to immediately throw this guy under the bus, even though there's the whole Nepo baby thing. I don't want to immediately throw him under the bus because, it's not his fault that the Caps are in trouble and that there may be an opportunity. Now, maybe the better thing to do is if you care about soccer and you really are tied into the culture of the game, you say, well, I can't possibly bid on the Vancouver Whitecaps because they belong to Vancouver and I don't want to move them out of Vancouver. This is an update that is over on dailyhive.com. This is from Har Johal, who covers the Whitecaps, I believe, hard journalist, if you want to follow her on social media. So this is a report out of the FIFA Congress, which happened in Vancouver over the last couple of days. Johnny Infantino got himself in trouble. Their protest by the Vancouver fans. Johnny Infantino got himself in trouble when he tried to put the head of the Palestinian FA and the head of the Israeli FA on the same stage together. And the Palestinian FA president was like, no, I'm not shaking that guy's hand.
Did you also see that he tried to get like a presidential motorcade?
Oh, that was a couple days old. He asked for, or they apparently asked for the highest level of
Pope status.
Yeah, Pope status, and they said no. Vancouver Mayor Ken Sim attended the FIFA Congress, where he said he spent time speaking with the MLS Commissioner, Don Garber. And Rob, by the way, I had to fill in Rob on Liar Liar Pants on Firegate this morning. He didn't know about that. Sim indicated that a noticeable uptick in interested parties have reached out regarding the Whitecaps. So is this, let's pause there for a second. He said there's plenty of work to do. He urged the province to step up, right? That's the mayor asking the province to step up. Do we think that the publicity that has come out the last couple days, sort of the ramping up of the drama of it all, is what has maybe scared up interest in Vancouver? Like, and that can't happen, right? It kind of did happen with Save the Crew, right? MLS, lots of stuff happening outwardly in public, but behind the scenes, they were obviously trying to find some solution that would keep keep the crew in Columbus, and they found the Haslam's willing to buy the club. Do we think that that's down to like the amplification of the drama, that there may be groups stepping up?
Yeah, definitely seeking opportunity. Folks with resources, they spot a weakness or a fragility somewhere, can leverage their power there. So obviously there's very public turmoil and tumult, and it's in a fragile situation in Vancouver. So those who can leverage something will, if they're want to put that time, energy, and effort in.
The disclosure of Grant Gustafson's bid could be the thing that got people in Vancouver, maybe people who maybe don't have the money by themselves, but can gather together some money, and maybe they were the ones that said, oh, wait, hold on, we really got to step up now because there's somebody who wants to move this team to Vegas.
Oh, so yeah, the Vegas, that they made that public to maybe put some fuel on the fire locally in Vancouver to be like, hey, we got to step up. I mean, part of the reporting was saying that they've looked into like 100 different things, but none of them were viable for a Vancouver a local purchase, which seems wild. There's 100 different people to have in those hundreds of millions of dollars sort of status is pretty wild.
Even that you should look at with a suspicious eye, because the way that was framed, and there were stories out like they've lost $300 million and of course they're in trouble. Yeah, okay, sure. MLS, by the way, could subsidize the Quakes, right? They could. And if MLS really is committed to stability and having, sorry, did I say the Quakes? I meant the Caps. If they are committed to stability and want to keep the Caps in Vancouver, MLS could step up. They could run this team. They could find ways to fund this team. There's billionaires across Major League Soccer who could all put money into a pot to keep the Vancouver Whitecaps going.
Yeah, right? Well, there's a motivation. Will is a way.
I understand there's this like, well, who's willing to lose that much money? And eventually, but for the moment, there's a bridge there. But of course, MLS doesn't want to set that precedent, because then it could be a thing around the league, and now my money's being messed with. But again, if you are really committed to the soccer and you've been selling us on the idea that these are community clubs, MLS used the idea of community clubs to burgeon its reputation over the last 15 years. And now you're going to go back on it. And we've spent a lot of words on this. This is an Instagram post. Vanni Sartini, former head coach of the Whitecaps, so I believe is coaching a different club in Vancouver, the Vancouver area in the Canadian Premier League. He's a Save the Caps guy, so good for Vanny. Look, I hope there's a local group that steps up. I don't know if any of this, again, this is all like, oh, are they doing certain news drops in order to push forward some real reaction from the community, maybe the province, maybe the city, whatever, whoever else who has some control over the future of the Caps. I guess I definitely think that, and I'm seeing Ryan Reynolds' name get mentioned, and I know I believe it was the premier of BC himself who said, hey, maybe Ryan Reynolds should get involved. Very funny, joking, maybe not joking. I hope somebody does step up. I really hope that happens. Again, let's not let MLS and the ownership group dictate terms when it comes to just how poor the Caps are. Right? Their economic situation is not a disaster for MLS as a whole. It's just a particular issue for people who don't want to lose any money at all on their investments in MLS.
It's not as peak as it could be. It's not as making as much as it could if it was happening somewhere else. And something that comes to mind is that what the 2-for-1. We've referenced the Save the Crew. What really happened? They ended up getting two sets of money for teams in that situation, right? So Las Vegas throws a bunch of money in at the owners, get their team, and then another, Phoenix sort of Vancouver ownership pops up. So they get a 2-for-1 special kind of comes into mind as far as like maximizing the squeeze, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, like there are some realities here, right? The economic realities of all of this. But I just don't like the hypocrisy of the way MLS has sold itself, and then the idea that they can just move a team because the economics aren't ideal. Yeah. Either that team is Vancouver's team or your whole thing is a charade. And I know a lot of people say, I know there are people in our chat right now who would say the whole thing's a charade. What are you talking about, Jason? It's always been a charade. Right, I know, but fans have bought in, and you owe them something now.
Yeah. All right. Another uplifting story up next as Soccer Wars rage on into a new battle. Let's move on here on Morning Kick Around. Hometown Soccer Holdings is the brand new platform for strategic investment as KKR, a global investment firm, makes a strategic investment to partner with MLS Next Pro. And the investment is being touted as a way for MLS Next Pro to elevate and move into new markets.
I am ODing on corporate speak, on strategic investment talk.
Oh,
Rob,
my God.
on making sure we have buy-in from a broad group of key stakeholders. Like I'm ODing on this. We didn't cover it, but the NWSL just decided not to flip its calendar. Now that may be as much about CBA things as it is about what they think is the best move right now. But in the statement they put out, it was like broad key stakeholders assess rigor, risk, future buy-in. And I was like, Jesus Christ, why are we talking like this? This is that again. But obviously what's most important here beyond the language is that somebody wants to put a bunch of money in MLS Next Pro to amplify its reach or whatever, to accelerate the growth. And the practical reality or the practical result of this is going to be a new front, not a new front, but a new level for the Soccer Wars. Because USL got their private equity money too, Rob. Yep. Bell Tower, and I think there's a second one, right? They are doing the thing. We've talked about it was previously Justin Papadakis. He's been pushed out. Who knows who's going to be doing this work now, but they're going to go jump around the country and they're going to sell little towns, medium-sized cities on a soccer team. Hey, join up with us. We'll help you do the research and a study on whether you should build a soccer stadium or convert a building you've already got. And you can have your own soccer team in a box. And now MLS Next Pro is about to go do the same thing with their private equity money.
Yeah, it's a new platform, Jason, a new platform. And it almost seems to me like they've run out of major cities across the United States. So you got to keep growing, right? And the way to keep growing is head into those smaller cities and then occupy all the different levels. USL is merging or moving into markets, and MLS Next Pro wants in on that too. I had a feeling in the waters. We talked about the MLS Next Pro stadiums earlier in the week. Like, this seems like a big investment, a lot of infrastructure to join a, reserve or a development league. And then here we are, less than 48 hours later, and, they're putting some juice in this, and they want to, battle USL for those medium-sized cities.
Well, obviously you're not saying it that way, but that's effectively what's going to be happening here, right? And look, this has always been a thing in American soccer. The soccer wars has always been a league wants to go into a town and another league comes in and is like, yeah, well, us too. And now we've got competing teams, or we've got a land grab. We've got a rush to this. I don't want to be so negative, because I showed it on my back when you said I turned around like a robot or whatever. It says DotTheMap. Like it says it in the corner of our screen. It's underneath our logo. It says DotTheMap, because our idea here is the only way for American soccer to meet its potential is to have as many clubs representing as many places as possible, because then you get buy-in from fans. And then from there flows many other possibilities, right? A further pyramid that can actually be integrated, the development of young players to benefit the local team, just the community feeling and the joy and the passion of going out and supporting your club, like we see in Portland, Maine, like we see in Chattanooga, Tennessee, like we see in Detroit, Michigan, right? That thing is what we want for everybody. Yeah. And somebody has to be willing to do the work and spend the money and make it all happen. And unfortunately, in 2026, what does that mean? That means private equity. That means people, as in the chat, private equity is a problem because it's totally a profit play, right? Let's not be naive about the motivations of KKR having formed Hometown Soccer. Man, what a ploy. What a ploy. Just like, let's tug on those heartstrings. Hometown, Rob.
Oh, it's so quaint and folksy. Music. It's so quaint and folksy.
I can hear the guitar and
right. You want soccer in your hometown? With the hometown?
Soccer in your hometown. I mean, that we shouldn't be doing that. I mean, soccer, your hometown could be on the upper Midwest, right? It absolutely can. But they're obviously playing into that idea, right? But let's not be naive. Private equity gets involved for one reason and one reason only: to deliver profit to the members of the firm, to the people who have put their money into the firm's hands. So this is now on one hand, that's like, oh my God, that's scary. It's only a for-profit play. On the other hand, hey, look, they see value, they see potential. That's great, right? The growth of soccer is attractive. That's a thing.
Yeah. I mean, the whole mantra of the show, DotTheMap, you like that, but do you get a little bit of an uneasiness when you see this as maybe turning into a farm league system? That's one of the things I never wanted for American soccer, with so much undiscovered territory, with what it could become. The thing that I didn't want it to become is becoming more and more of a possibility, it being like AAA teams, AA teams, and then just being affiliates, like sending our star striker, our striker gets a hat trick and he goes up to the MLS team.
There's no way to know that's going to happen. Let's just say that's
writing's on the wall, if you ask me.
Well, there's a reserved. Every MLS team can have a reserve team in this league. They're all going to be independently branded now. I think that's better. I don't love it, as you said, from a minor league. But reserve teams are a feature of soccer. That's a thing around the world. It's just whether you call it, Barca B, or if you have a separate name and it plays a couple miles down the road. This is what they're doing. They're taking which, by the way, this is how the MLS reserve team kind of started. Swope Park Rangers, Tacoma Defiance, Bethlehem Steel, North Texas SC, having their own identities. And then MLS a while back was like, actually, no, we kind of want you to put those under your club umbrella and get rid of those separate brandings. And now this pendulum is swung the other way because private equity is involved. And now it's not just we need a reserve league. Now it's, this is an opportunity for us to get more land, for us to take more, to have more control. And look, I'm sympathetic to people saying MLS wants to be a monopoly. MLS wants to grow its business. And if that means a monopolistic end, they're probably fine with that. Here's Tom Glick, former NYCFC executive, former Charlotte or Carolina Panthers executive, former Chelsea executive, who's going to be the CEO, saying that there are 100 mid-sized markets, large cities, suburban areas of major metros that don't have their own professional soccer team. I understand the kind of being a little grossed out by this because of how it's happening. But it's also true that beggars can't be choosers. and that we're not going to get in our time machine and go back to 1912 and start a bunch of soccer teams that can stand the test of time and be here in 2026 for us all to be fans of, right? There's not going to be a Lansing team that, we can't, that's not a thing we can wish into existence. The only way it happens is for somebody to see it as a commercial opportunity, right? And you said that you think this is going to play out as a minor league, and it might. Again, I know minor league baseball's moved in this direction with private equity as well, but there's also this, well, if these are independent teams owned independently, will their players feed up? Probably not, but you will have that question of how real is this league compared to, say, USL, even with their private equity interest, because they are sort of independent of a structure that has MLS at the top. But I don't know that there's that much of a difference, to be honest with you. I really don't. And this puts the Grand Rapids Stadium into perspective as to why that's a thing, maybe out ahead of them knowing this was coming.
Yeah, you're probably right there. I'm curious if some of the old heads, how they feel about USL and its current status now with all independent teams compared to like 10 years ago when the majority of the league was backups and then there was independent teams maxed up. So USL Pro of the future is like USL of the past in a way, which is a little odd. And one thing I wanted to note that MLS and how this is developing here and how they talk about this initiative kind of reflects kind of like politics with like, but the kids, they kind of use the shield of player development. Like, having all this will be such great opportunity for player development, which seems a little bit thin or a little bit of a shallow claim when you think about the money and the infrastructure and the real estate aspects to it.
Yeah. Look, again, if you want to wear your cynical glasses all the time when it comes to American soccer, you're going to see a lot of things, right? You are. Yeah. You know that movie, was it called Them? I think it's called Them, or maybe They.
What's it about?
It's from the 80s. Roddy Piper is the star of the show.
Oh, yeah, that's where like the Obey memes come from.
He gets the glasses that allow him to see the aliens who are hiding their alienness. Right. This is sort of the lizard people thing, but in a movie back in the 80s.
Yeah.
If you want to put on your glasses and see the cynicism, the profit-driven motivation across American soccer with your glass, you can do it. You can do it. Right. I don't blame anybody who wants to kind of compartmentalize and push that aside and allow themselves, they live. Thank you very much, guys. Allow themselves to just buy in to their local team. I just hope that whoever's in charge, private equity, Hometown Soccer Holdings, USL, Bell Tower, all of them, I hope they understand really deeply down. And again, the Vancouver Whitecaps situation is indicative of a problem here, that once you give us a club, we're going to think of it as ours, not yours. I don't care if you're the guy on the paperwork. I don't care if you have the largest ownership stake. If you put that club here, you're asking us to adopt it. That's a different relationship than you saying, hey, let me sell you a bagel, or let me, sell you some product. That's a different relationship. It is. It's a different relationship. Also, should mention before we get to our guest, who I know is here, the professional league standards changed when nobody was looking. And we're going to look at that after our guest today, just a little bit, because it may have something to do with what's happening with MLS Next Pro and lower division soccer in America.
Yeah, we'll follow this story as it unfolds over the next months and years, but definitely the new battlefront of the American soccer war. All right, let's move right along. Our guest is waiting in the wings. We're going to talk about some TST next up here on Morning Kick Around. Moving right along here on Morning Kick Around, we'd like to welcome our guest, the head of team relations of the soccer tournament. It'll be the fourth year of the cash prize tournament held in Kerr, North Carolina. This year, 48 men's teams, 16 women's teams, and 12 mixed in a 7-a-side format. Welcome to the show, Luke.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited to be here.
Appreciate you coming by, Luke. Obviously, this thing has taken off. You guys keep growing. Give us a sense what's different in year 4 for TST.
Yeah, so obviously a big year for us with the World Cup coming to North America. Every year we've done this, we've grown it. So it started as a 32 team men's tournament. 4 years later, we have 48 teams in the men's event, 16 now in a women's event, and then brand new this year is a 12-team mixed tournament, which is a co-ed tournament. So we've got 3 different $1 million championship games this year. So a lot of money being handed out, but it's going to be really exciting.
So what was the original idea of this, and why does the folks inside the company think that, like, what is the spark that led to it taking off? Because like you said, it was a men's tournament, and then now over the years, more and more like celebrities and big name players have hopped on. What has made this such an attractive like kind of version of soccer?
Yeah, so our company is actually 13 years old. We've had a basketball tournament for 13 years. That was the original product and property. It's called TBT. It's pretty well known in the basketball sphere, but obviously the sport of soccer dwarfs basketball in terms of global scale. So obviously our basketball tournament kind of made a name for itself. About 5 years ago, we were approached with the idea to do a soccer tournament, 7v7, which is just like the most rapid growing part of the sport right now. And so it's kind of turned into, like, I always tell people that it's a mixture of a youth soccer tournament, the US Open in tennis, and Coachella. And it has different elements of all of those different pieces because it's like this open format. Anyone can enter. We have 7 different games going on at one time, 7 different game fields. We have food trucks from all the countries being represented, festival-like atmosphere. You pay for a ticket. You're not bound to one seat or one section. You can kind of bounce around the venue as you please. So it's kind of turned into this like really competitive, but also family-friendly festival. And it's just been really fun. And obviously we've had some really big celebrities play that are soccer celebrities, non-soccer celebrities like JJ Watt, Steve Nash, Cheto Jacinko. There's a bunch of others as well, but it's also really competitive. Like, you watch the games, these people are really fighting for $1 million, and that's life-changing money, obviously. So it's just kind of turned into this like one-of-a-kind event in America. And obviously with 7-a-side growing at a rapid pace that it is, it kind of fell into this perfect niche.
Yeah,
So-
obviously there's something to, sorry, Rob, there's something to this version of the game that allows maybe guys who don't have the legs to play, the full pitch game anymore, to have a potential moment of glory. Obviously, I think what always stands out to me is, like, obviously there are clubs that enter teams, and that's like a very obvious thing. That's an extension of our brand. Oakland County, right? Rob is working with Oakland County. Oakland County has a team in the tournament. But then there's all these like themed groups, or like it's like I'm just clicking through your through your page, and I see what Freedom United, a bunch of guys from the Air Force Academy get together to make a team. Like, I love that little element of it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So like you said, we have prominent clubs. So we have, like, this year we have some prominent clubs from around the world. So we have like Villarreal from La Liga, we have Cagliari from Serie A, we have a bunch of Kings League teams. Obviously, that's doing its thing around the world. So we have a couple Brazilian Kings League team. We have an actual Kings League putting in an all-star team, which is exciting with their expansion to the U.S. They're really trying to promote. But then we have all these other teams of people maybe that you've never heard of that are trying to make a name for yourself. Freedom United is a perfect example of that. But there's 76 total teams in this event. You can kind of click through and see the stories of all of our teams on the website, but it's super unique, and we're kind of give this platform to anyone, so like anyone can enter. It's really fun, and we're trying to continue to grow this thing as best as we can.
As you might have heard previous to you coming on, there's some things that might make people jaded in the wider scheme of the 11 versus 11 professional soccer side, the private equity firms and teams coming and going, and definitely like a lot of boardroom stuff. So do you think that you presented TST as like almost like a soccer carnival? Do you think that maybe it was appealing just because we're just basing this on fun? Like, let's just do fun stuff?
Yeah, I think that's a really big part of that. I think you kind of hit it right on the head. Like, it's just fun. There's not as much pressure. I mean, obviously there's pressure for the teams winning $1 million, but like, you don't come into this event, there are fans that come specifically rooting for a team, but I would say a lot of our fans just come to enjoy the outdoors. It's in the summer, have a beer, hang out, watch some good soccer. We obviously tailored the games a little bit to kind of make it more fan friendly. So in our basketball tournament, we implemented this Elam ending. We were the first major tournament or league to do it. In basketball, it's, at the end of in the fourth quarter, when the first timeout or first whistle at the 4-minute timeout hits, we shut off the clock and add 8, and that becomes a target score. First team to that target score wins. We added that into our soccer event. It's obviously not 8. That would be a lot of goals to score in a short amount of time, but it's 1. So if it's 3-2 at the end of regulation, you add 1 and that becomes a target score. So every single game in our event ends on a goal. It's a walk-off homer in every single game. That golden goal, it creates these amazing moments. Obviously, fans can get behind it because they know that, this goal is coming, and it's not, maybe an 11v11, you see some stalling, some time wasting, all that stuff. Like, that's non-existent in TST. You need to attack and score a goal to win. So stuff like that, we've tailored this event to make it really fun for the fans and for the teams. Like, obviously everyone wants to score goals, so we're trying to promote that. It's fast-paced, 7v7 fast-paced in that target score time as well, I should add. Every 3 minutes, we don't have that target score reached. We remove a player from each team off the pitch. So it goes from 7v7 to 6v6, 5v5, and go all the way down to 2v2. So it's just fun. We try to do stuff like that to kind of hit your point right on the head, where it's all about fun.
So at this point, I mean, 4 years in, the expansion into the mixed teams. Is it always got to be like we got to find something new to add every year, Luke? Is it always like pushing the envelope, or are you guys like trying to settle in as you have with the basketball tournament to kind of just a rhythm here? Like when are you going to feel like this is established? I guess is a question.
It's a really good question. It's kind of a mixture of both. Like, we are still establishing ourselves. I mean, this is super young. This is 4th year of this thing. The demand is just crazy. There's just so many teams. I mean, we're hitting like almost every continent. We have our first African team this year. The Orlando Pirates are entering a team. We've hit every continent except the Antarctica in our 4 years. So there's just so much demand. And we obviously want to accommodate as much demand from the team side as possible. I mean, that's my job, is to kind of manage all of that. So obviously we want to keep adding at some point, the venue itself, and we're a very small company. There's like 15 of us in total. We can only handle so much. But I think we're settling in, and this is kind of where we're establishing our roots. So I think I'm interested to see how the mixed tournament goes. It should be really fun. And 48 men's team, 16 women's team seems to be the sweet spot right now.
It's definitely afforded teams and individuals a new platform and a new adventure to seek within the world's game. And then I never would have thought that, I'm a Oakland County FC guy. I'm the play-by-play commentator, and I do a lot in my free time for the team. And I wouldn't have thought that there'd be a platform where, Brazilian champion goalkeepers and Florentine Pogba and some Borussia Dortmund players would be donning the purple of Oakland County FC. And in all clarity, like Oakland County FC had a sweepstakes and is sending a family down with the team to experience this soccer carnival down there as well. I do know, like, one thing that's done really well, especially last year, clips and being able to see the highlights of the games were very, very visible and really easy to access. I felt like when the tournament, especially in the early rounds, when there's lots and lots of games, I felt like clips of the TST was everywhere. But I did see that there are actual broadcast television games. So how many games does Oakland County FC have to win to get on national television is my question.
Yeah, so if Oakland County goes all the way and wins the TSC championship, they would have played a total of 8 games, 3 in the group stage, and then they have to play 5 games to win the million. The way we have 17 games on NBC and Peacock this year, so that's going to be on either main channel NBC, NBCSN, or Peacock. The first games in the men's tournament that get streamed, there's 1 quarterfinal games, or there's 1 round of 16 game, 2 to 3 quarterfinal games, and then all semis and all championships will be streamed. So if they get to the round of 16, there's a 1 out of 8 chance that they get on TV. If they make the quarterfinals, that improves a little bit, and then if they make the semis, it's guaranteed.
In terms of the broadcast situation, I mean, I've watched some clips. I don't know if I've sat down. I think I watched a couple of games last year. Maybe I need to make some more time. Obviously, it's a busy time in American soccer. There's a lot going on. And, I do a radio show 5 days a week. How is the broadcast situation? You talked about the games on Peacock and NBC, but who's like producing the broadcast? How does that? I know that's a little inside baseball, but how does that all work? Who's calling games, stuff like that?
Yeah, so obviously we have 17 games, like I said, that's going to be produced through NBC. The rest of the games are streamed on YouTube. And when they actually do really good viewers, I think like they get at minimum 15 to 20, and maximum I've seen like 150,000 people watching at one time. Obviously, the Brazilian streamers and Mexican streamers, like they go crazy in our YouTube live. But we kind of produce it in house. We work with a company called Tupelo Honey that helps us. But it's a lot of in-house. The commentators we kind of source from everywhere, using connections that we have in basketball. But obviously, we now have all these soccer connections. So people just reach out. They want to call games. We talk to them, see if they're a good fit.
All right.
And then also we just use our network of soccer individuals to help build it out. And yeah, we have a pretty big announcing crew, as you can imagine, with like 150 games in 5 days.
No. It's just I guess it never occurred to me to reach out. I'm like, oh, maybe I would want to come down and do something. I know the Cooligans have been down and done some like emceeing stuff.
Yeah, we can connect after this if you're interested.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the timing works with my life, but it's just like, oh, this might be pretty cool. It's obviously the energy of it, as you said, like the carnival, as Rob was talking about, the carnival aspect of it is obviously something that I think people can rally behind. There is something to like, while I'm a traditionalist in a lot of ways, and it's like, oh, this isn't soccer the way I think of soccer. Obviously, we have a long history of indoor soccer in America, so this kind of fits into that realm. And honestly, there's like a purity to this that is different than maybe sort of like professional soccer sometimes is, because this is just guys $1 million on the line just playing because they love the game, not because I don't know, not because it's their job necessarily, but because they want to express that passion for it.
Yeah, totally. It's really fun, and obviously a lot of indoor play. Like we have players just from all walks of soccer. So we have the traditional 11v11 players, we have the indoor players, we have the Talacha culture players, which is like these Mexican underground tournaments that are really successful in our event. We have, like I said, we're touching every single continent this year. So it's really exciting. And we're going to have three champions, each getting $1 million.
Yeah, 3 champions with $1 million cash prize, and colorful teams from domestic locations and scattered across the world from what it sounds like. Let the listeners know, when does it all kick off and how long does it run for?
Yeah, so our tournament's down in North Carolina, in Kerr, which is right outside of Raleigh. It starts May 27th and it'll conclude June 1st. You guys can follow along on our socials, TST77, our Instagram. Our content team does a great job keeping everybody informed and up to date with all of our clips. So make sure to follow us there. And then you can catch like 99% of the games on YouTube. And then, like I said, the 17 games will be on Peacock, NBC, and NBCSN. It's going to be really exciting. And I appreciate you guys for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you, Luke. Exciting times. Another very exciting and large-scale event happening on the shores of the United States. What a summer of soccer we have in store for us here in 2026. But stick with us. We got a couple more seconds. We're going to dot the map with our MK Ultras, but we're going to talk a little bit of PLS next up here on Morning Kick Around. Here we go. Welcome back here on Morning Kick Around. Before we dot the map and really engage one-on-one with the channel members, there's another news item that crept out very quietly, and it could have big ramifications on the whole dot the map ethos. Yeah. The requirements for who and how much they own changed, and very quietly.
Yeah, look, I think this is about a month ago, Rob, if I have my timeline correct, about a month ago, changes were made to the PLS. Now, I have clipped the pertinent, it's a wall of text, my apologies, but I've clipped the pertinent section that is causing a little bit of a stir, okay? I do think it's interesting that these were changed and nobody at US Soccer was like, hey, guys, we changed the PLS. Hey, everybody out there in American soccer, guess what? The professional league standards have changed a little bit. Please go and download the latest copy to be informed as to how those standards have changed. Now, it just happened. I guess one of the nerds, and I'm including myself in that, I didn't do it, I wish I had. One of the nerds out there was like, I wonder if the PLS is different. Well, let me go check the PLS. We all talk like that when we're doing nerd stuff.
For sure.
And they downloaded it and they started reading. They were like, wait a second. This looks different. Okay. So, Rob, I know, again, wall of text here. And if you really look close, you can kind of see where it says, each team ownership group must demonstrate the financial capacity to operate the team for 5 years. As part of the process of demonstrating financial capacity, each ownership group must provide detailed financial history, if applicable, and projections, including a detailed budget, yada, yada, yada. In addition, each team must have its governing legal documents, must designate one principal owner with a controlling interest who owns at least 15% of the team and has authority to bind the team. Such principal owner must have an individual net worth of at least $40 million US, exclusive of the value of his or her ownership of the in the league, and his or her primary personal residence. So you can't put your house in as part of your net worth for this. You can't put your house in, and you can't put the team that you actually own. You have to be independent of that. 40 million. What's different, Rob, from the previous edition of the PLS, which had been in place for what, 7 years?
Yeah, something like that. I think 7 years is accurate. But the biggest change is the amount of money that the primary owner needs to have in the bank, and then the percentage of how much the team owns is lower.
Well, let's be clear. Not money in the bank. Net worth. Net worth is different than money in the bank. If you have $5 million in the bank, you can still have $40 million in net worth if you own other assets. So yeah, but $40 million that you can call upon if necessary. How liquid it needs to be, I don't know. Right? Like my retirement accounts are part of my net worth. Can I access all that money? Yeah, I can. I guess I could, but I paying anyway. Doesn't matter. $40 million, and as you said, the controlling interest is now 15%. This was previously 25%.
35%.
35%. We've gone down a full 20%.
Yeah.
And the net worth went up $20 million. It was 20 million before. Now it's $40 million.
This is for second division for
second division. Yeah. To be clear, this is for second division. I didn't put that on there, but yes. So we have to think through what this means. The pool of potential owners, of principal owners, is smaller, but their share of the team needs to be smaller as well. Does this facilitate more clubs at the Division II level or fewer clubs? Who does this benefit, Rob? Those are the big questions.
It's really hard to think. When I first saw this, when I saw that the percentage was lower, it's like, oh, if clubs that are looking to move into that second division level, they wouldn't have to give up as much of their club to the wealthy benefactors to, qualify and be in compliance with second division standards. But then when you kind of process it, that amount doubled for what the net worth is. And is there more or less 40 millionaires or less 40 millionaires than 20 millionaires? Do you think that narrows the pool?
It does narrow. It narrows the pool. Obviously, it narrows the pool. There are fewer people that have $40 million in net worth than have 20 million. That's just obvious. But it does, because of the lower percentage of ownership, it does open up the possibility that you can collect enough money to invest in a second division soccer team in a way that doesn't require you, again, like we talked about with Detroit City. Like, let's specifically put this on Detroit City. And by the way, it does also say the principal owner, together with all other owners, must have a combined individual net worth of at least $70 million. So, yeah, somebody with 40 million, you have to have at least 70 million total, and they can be smaller minority owners to cobble together that 70 million. But we talked about Detroit City FC when they made the move from amateur to pro, and really from NISA to USL. They had to bring in new ownership, and they had to meet the old standard, right? The USL, the Division II standard before, which was $20 million in net worth and 35% stake. So presumably now, and I don't know if that principal owner has $40 million in net worth, but presumably if they do, then the club can buy back some, or the rest of the ownership group can take a bigger piece, and that principal owner doesn't have to carry as much of the weight. Good or bad? I mean, again, so let's see what Chris says. It narrows the principal ownership, but I think it opens up the overall ability to have a D2 club due to the fact of just how many people have a net worth of $10 million. Right? So again, principal ownership pool smaller, general potential owners much bigger, much bigger, right? Because if you only have to have 15% with your principal owner, that 85% could be spread out by across a lot of people who might want to put in some money, who might want a piece of the club. So,
I mean, there's two ways to look at this. It's narrowing the field of the pool of people that are able to access this. And some people, and the mind jumps to like, oh, the billionaires could then, almost freely jump into this level and be able to gobble these things up. But you could also speak on the other side of the argument that this higher level of worth from at least one of the owners makes it more sustainable, that if they do fall on hard times and the team is losing money, they can operate at a loss for longer and maintain their professionalism at a loss.
That is ostensibly the reason for those financial requirements in the PLS. Yeah. But a lot of people will say, you know what? It actually limits the possibility to have community clubs, fan-owned clubs, right? Now, if your principal owner needs to have 15% and $40 million net worth, then presumably you can spread out some portion of fan ownership the rest of the way, right? And again, I like that part of true fan ownership. That's not a thing we're with yet. And the wisdom of that is does that open up the potential for clubs to be extremely fragile if things don't work? Because in a fan ownership scenario, you have to be breaking even or as close to it as possible, because there's nobody to put money in when you're losing money year to year, right? The part of the reason for these financial requirements that U.S. Soccer would say is, well, it's a losing proposition. Like, operating costs mean you need somebody who's willing to put some money in to keep it going. That's why they have to be able to buy in the team and all those things, because if you don't have those guardrails in place, then the club goes poof when the red ink is spilled across the page.
It's not exactly 100% apples to apples, but a good example to wrap your head around it. If you were watching the Welcome to Wrexham documentary at the first season when the show started, the team was in the 5th division. They were community owned and they were just barely getting by, people throwing in small amounts of money just to get by. But they admitted that their community ownership wouldn't have allowed them to exist at the higher level. They wouldn't have been able to bankroll them even if they did have their fortunes change. So there's that aspect of it. Well, but kind of, if I can put my tinfoil hat on, when we were making the rundown, I was thinking, is there a connection here between this PLS change and then the private equity joining MLS Next Pro news? Is there a correlation here? I already put my glasses on. Now I got a tinfoil hat on. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like a big coincidence, doesn't it?
And news broke the same day. Maybe that's the connection.
No, look, obviously this applies to MLS Next Pro is right now a 3rd division as sanctioned by U.S. Soccer, right? So that's not the standards that will apply to MLS Next Pro. But if MLS wants to make MLS Next Pro a 2nd division, if it wants to reconfigure its ownership, and obviously, all of the MLS reserve teams are going to meet the requirement. So, I need to think through this. I need to see what some people who are in this space really think about this before I make any grand conclusions about it. But it definitely seems it seems unlikely that this is not connected in some way to how private equity money has entered the scene, and now these groups, MLS Next Pro backed by KKR and USL backed by Bell Tower and others, are changing the way that these clubs are thinking about their growth. Because if you are going to shotgun the country with clubs, you don't want the standards to be impossible to meet. You want the bars to be lowered or reasonable. Again, the Fed will say, well, we have to have some guardrails up, but the groups involved in the USL and MLS Next Pro are going to say, well, don't make them so high we can't start clubs if we want to in these towns, right? And again, there's population requirements for D2 and things like that, but it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and just another aside that connects to the MLS Next Pro expansion story is that USL's shot themselves in the foot a little bit with how much fees they're charging and stuff. They're actually making entry into MLS Next Pro the cheaper and more viable way for this. And so one of their competitive advantages of being the grassrootsy or more independent thing was kind of hamstrung by MLS Next Pro not having as large of a barrier of entry in the first place. So that's part of this as well. But obviously Papadakis, is out, and the regime is changing at USL. So we'll see if their fees and their business model adjusts as the threat or the emergence of MLS Next Pro independent teams spreads across the United States, and they are on their own mission to dot the map within that league. But it's the end of the show here, but we're gonna dot the map. We are gonna do some back and forth with our membership. Remind you, I'm not sure what exact time today, but Blackstone Valley Tourism Council giving away 4 tickets to the Rhode Island FC taking on Tampa Bay Rowdies. We are going to be doing what is this, American Soccer Showcase from Centerville Bank Stadium?
Showcase. Ooh, I don't know. That sounds like we're doing some sort of like
youth soccer tournament,
youth soccer event. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of I'm not a big fan
Saturday
of
night special.
Man, we got to come up with a good name for this. I mean, look, the MK Road Show is not a terrible name. Like we're on the road. The MK Road Show, we keep the morning out of it because obviously the show is going to be happening in the evening ahead of the game there at Centerville Bank Stadium. But as you can see on screen, this is the Instagram page for Tour Blackstone. Go over there right now. It says how to enter, like the post, follow us and Tour Blackstone, subscribe to us in the YouTube channel, drop your answer. There's a question in there about a show from Monday. You got to have watched Monday's show, Rob. That's the key.
And big shout out to one of those teams who sent you stuff. I got them too. I don't want to give away the answer and blow the whole sweepstakes option, but go back, watch Monday's show, answer that question, and win tickets. We have one new member during today's show, and I think we added like 10 or 20 on Wednesday's show. So be sure to join the Morning Kick Around Discord server. Amongst the benefits of becoming a channel member, you get on screen with your comments during the live shows. You get access to bonus content, and then you get into the Morning Kick Around Discord server, which has been absolutely buzzing. It's been doing pretty good, but more and more threads are just constant conversation and some really good stuff. And so if you haven't joined that, joins now, Mr. 811 Reyes and all the other new ones as well.
I don't want to scare anybody, right? I don't want to tear anybody off from the Discord. But our people are intense. Like we love American soccer at Morning Kick Around in the Discord. Sometimes you'll wake up and like, oh, let me go see what's happening in the 78 messages. Oh my God. Like it's just like that, but it's also great. It's also great.
From folks making their own clubs or who are sharing experiences of creating their own clubs, from folks talking about their local team, USL, MLS, national teams, and more. But one of the features of becoming a new member is the drop in your location and who you are a fan of, and we put it on our own map. We dot the map of our channel members. So we have a few new entries, and we want to get you guys on the map right now. We didn't get to do so last week. I was rolling with one of our dedicated ultras, Luke Zagorski. So we didn't bring up the map without Jason. You are the kind of the guide for, you're the dot plopper. I'll give you the title. So we're going to go to our first dot to add.
I reject that title. I reject
dot
it.
Plopper?
With prejudice. I do not want to be the dot plopper. Rob, what am I, a poodle? What are you talking about? All right, let's continue. All right, let's forget about that.
All right, Adam Lund is in Asheville, North Carolina.
I hear that's a wonderful place. Haven't visited yet myself, but I would like to. So let's add, you said Adam Lund is his name? All right. Do you know how this works? I can't put a picture because I don't have an image for him. By the way, you can throw an image if you want me to put it on the map. I think we can make that happen. Right now, it's just dots, but I think we can throw images in there. I mean, it's words, and it will show up when I come. It doesn't have to be your picture. It can be whatever you want. It can be your stadium. It can be your badge. All right. Clubs for Adam? Any clubs?
Yeah, Adam has listed a couple clubs, including Asheville FC.
I'm being asked if there is a link to the map. It is in the Discord, John, somewhere. I think it's pinned. maybe on the DotTheMap channel, that so you can look at the map yourself. You don't need me around to be looking at the map. I can't type. I'm distracted. Okay, Oh my God, Asheville FC.
You
Is
got
an
it.
It's an F. Okay, what else?
Asheville FC, the Rochester Rhinos.
Rochester. All right, hold on. The Rochester Rhinos or the Rochester Raging Rhinos?
He's got it
That's
listed as Rhinos.
all right. So we don't go raging. All right, what else?
He's been taking his calming medication. He's just calm Rhinos, not raging. Rail Salt Lake is another.
Rail Salt Lake. All right. RSL, nice.
And then he's also got his own club that he founded in college called Smugtown FC.
Oh, that's dope. I love that. Smugtown FC. John, since you do not do Discord and you're an old person, or well, I mean, not an old person. Sorry, you're clumsy. I will post the link to the map on the YouTube channel today. I will do that. What else, Rob? Anything else?
All right. That is Adam Lund. So welcome aboard, Adam. Thank you for sharing. Our next new dot is Abenco, 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 and he is in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay, Las Vegas. Do we have somebody else in Vegas? We do. Jacob's in Vegas.
Jacob, what up, Jacob?
All right. So give me that name. Give me that name again, Rob. What is that name?
Abenco, Abenco. Abenco,
like
and he's a fan of Las Vegas Lights and the LA Galaxy.
LA Galaxy. All right. Anybody else? So nothing else for Abenco? We're good.
He is good there. So welcome aboard, Abenco. And we got one more dot to add here. We are traveling to the Pacific Northwest, Vancouver.
Canada?
Vancouver, Canada.
Wow. Okay.
Vancouver, only if you consider British Columbia as part of Canada, which most people do.
What? What? What?
Our channel member's name is KRS. He's in Vancouver. He's a fan of the Vancouver Whitecaps, Vancouver FC, Norwich City, and Bayern. I'm just being silly. I don't think that there's any sort of that's Alberta. That's Alberta. That's trying to be separatist, not BC.
I thought it was Alberta. Alberta wants to be. I mean, obviously Quebec has famously wanted to be on their own. All right, Vancouver Whitecaps. Who else for KRS?
Vancouver FC, of course the Canadian Premier League team there. Norwich City FC is a Canaries fan as well, and then FC Bayern.
FC Bayern Munich. All right,
I'm
gonna put right here next to Whitecaps. Save the Caps. All right, KRS. I saw we had a new member today drop in a mention of the Sacramento Republic. I don't know if you've got your dot where you want your dot to be. If that's Sacramento, who was it? Let me go back up. Oh, it's 916. Okay, you've got it. 916 XIs. Are we putting that dot in Sacramento for you?
I'm not sure. The new member that I mentioned earlier was 811 Reyes. Sure.
Them too, and obviously, and also shout out, Leandering is here as a new member. Let's go. All right, well, hold on. We got to do this. We got to do this proper. I bet you know the dots could clang. I bet you didn't know that that's the sound a dot made. A dot makes a clanging sound, and the clanger, that's what happens.
Yeah, it clangs when it gets plopped onto the map. Exactly.
When you plop it. All right, so 916 XIs is in Sacktown. Let's drop him in. I will go here to Sacramento, California. Birthplace of me. I was born there in Sacramento, California.
Born in the Sac.
19, you don't know what year that was. Actually, it's fine. It's 1979. Yeah, that's how old I am. All right, name, do we want to go? Are we going with 916 XIs? Is that what you want your name to be? If you don't want it to be that, tell me right now, and I will change it. But for the moment, that's what you're getting. Oops, that goes up here. Sorry, let me change that. Okay, and then we go down here and put Sacramento Republic, the pride of Sacramento. Right there. Nobody cares about the basketball team. It's just about, okay, Xavi. Okay, I'll put you in there, Xavi. All right.
Did our new member Leandering, do you have a dot that you'd like to put it? He said he's
He says
commenting
Tampa
about
Bay
the Tampa Bay
Rowdies.
Rowdies.
Yeah.
So does that mean
Okay.
Leandering? Is your dot supposed to go into Tampa Bay? Let us know here before we get out of here. We're gonna dip out here on Friday's edition of Morning Kick Around here pretty shortly.
Oh, Andy is giving an Andy's not a member. I don't know why you're not a member, Andy. What's going on? Andy's giving everybody an education about KRS-One, which I appreciate, Andy.
But Andy, I appreciate it because my mind definitely went to KRS-One as well. But you never know. That could be the man's initials. That could be the company abbreviation that he works for.
You're right.
Or something.
I know what KRS means in KRS-One. Do you know what it means, KRS-One?
I knew at one point, but I forgot.
It means knowledge reigns supreme, Rob. That's what it means.
Over one.
Yeah.
Step into a realm. Great song.
Yeah. Incredible song. Yeah. He's got one of those like aggressive voices, one of the best voices in hip hop, KRS-One. All right. What else? I was
great popping, guys. Of course. And I want to give Leandering a minute.
There we go.
Yeah, he said, he is.
Knowledge reigns. Hold on. Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. That's the one. ONE. There you go. Knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everyone. Thank you very much. Guitar Riaga. All right. I'm sorry. I got lost. Are we done?
Let's go to Tampa Bay. We're going to Tampa Bay to put Leandering in there.
Okay. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is not the place. Tampa is the place. Did you know that? The Bay is the Bay. The teams are called Tampa Bay, like Tampa Bay Rowdies. They're named after a body of water. It's actually just Tampa, which I guess is not as cool. All right. We're going to put Leandering in here.
You ever been to St. Petersburg? That's a whole nother world.
I think so. My grandmother had a condo. My grandparents had a condo in Bradenton, which is down the coast a little bit, not too far. It's where the Bolletary Tennis Academy was. It's where IMG Academy was. I actually went to the IMG Academy once for a baseball tournament when I was in high school. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Leandering is a fan of the Tampa Bay Rowdies. There we go. Rowdies. Anybody else?
I think that's it for
our guy. Nicholas Murray is here. Shout out to Nicholas Murray.
Yeah, Nick Murray waving from Tampa Bay, and then I think a new viewer, at least I'm not familiar with his screen name, but Regan saying enjoying the show from Tampa as well. So some Florida folks in the live show here on a Friday edition of Morning Kick Around. I guess reminders that you guys will get your MK Ultra, the Morning Kick Around first ever edition kit, which is I think you wearing that kit, you've never looked more handsome. That looks really good on you, Jason. And we're all going to be looking that fine once you exercise your postaging muscles and get those out to everybody. I'll get mine when we rendezvous in Rhode Island next week. Go to the Blackstone Valley Tourism Council to get tickets too.
Yes, do that. Since apparently I'm very awkward when I turn around to try to show you what's on the back of this shirt, as per Robert Kerr, because I'm.
It's fair. It's fair. I was just giving you guff.
There you go. It says DotTheMap. It's got the year, obviously 26. We've got the rooster. We've got Friends Peck and Power right there. Bottom of the number, very classy. I will point that the features of this wonderful 2026 Morning Kick Around first edition jersey, as created by Bastion. This is embroidered. This is an embroidered badge, people. Do you know what kind of quality that is? That's embroidery right there. Like that's an incredible detail on this shirt. Rob helped pick the material, which feels legit. This is like high quality stuff here. We're not giving you one of those like flimsy, plasticky feeling, like, you know, and no offense to all the other kit makers out there where they're all sourcing what they can, but this kit is legitimate quality. I swear to you, if you don't have one, go check out the store. Fourth Wall. Go look for Morning Kick Around on Fourth Wall. Our links are broken. I think I posted it in the YouTube. I think I posted the link to the store not that long ago.
We got a late suggestion. MK theme song "Rooster" by Alice in Chains. We were talking hip hop. Do we know the Alice in Chains song?
I no, I'm not. That's not my bag. It's not who I am. Sorry.
I'll have to Google that one after the show.
Armando, no offense to you and Alice in Chains. I know they're a great band. That just was not my vibe in the 90s. That was not my vibe.
Yeah, so to all our new members, get into
the
Discord.
Know the song. Hold on, it just came into my head. I do know the song. I can hear it in my head, Armando. Not a bad song.
All right, guys, we will be back on Monday, same place, same time. And then we're going to venture into the MK audio hangout within the Discord on Monday night. We'll get on that too as a test drive. And then this time next week, we will be streaming shoulder to shoulder from Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Can't wait for that. But until then, everybody have a great weekend and enjoy your soccer.